Friday to you and yours, Andrew Callahan alongside Fitzy of WEEI. And I recently discovered Coach Prime of the Massachusetts local football scene, and a man who, when it comes to media, I think we could be best put by he can make all the throws. So he is on here. He's got the shades for the folks joining us on YouTube. We are live again today. It is a heck of a day to be live. And I promise those folks watching on YouTube, we will go a little bit longer than the 2 minutes and 59 seconds we just got out of Bill Belichick, because he is not having a happy Friday. He is 0-2. The Patriots are trying to change that. Fitzy is here to make us smile and give us some information. Where are you at on this Friday? Has it been a long week?
Hey, Callahan, I read that bull junkie you wrote. I'm going to ask you now, if the Patriots go to JetLife Stadium on Sunday and get a win, you going to be a believer? Do you believe now, Andrew Callahan? Mr. They Effed Us wrote it in January in the Boston Herald. Will you be a believer? Because I'm going to tell you what, I'll be a believer, Andrew. And yes, these are not the glasses I wear when I coach flag football. And yes, that is the most fun I have as a football fan, football personality, football, anything, each and every given week. Where am I right now? In my fan cave / studio. Where am I emotionally? Where am I in a more meta capacity right now? As far as my Pats love and Pats fandom, I am in a place of immense frustration with this team. And here's why. Yes, I full well understand that the team is improving. Yes, they do have an excellent defense. Yes, I see guys who may be around for a while to come, who may be legitimate stars, who may be tremendous additions to the true Belichick 3.0 or the future in Foxborough, speaking first and foremost of Christian Gonzalez. But what I see on the field right now, what I've seen the opening 2 weeks, 2 home losses, 2 freaking Groundhog's Day of a result where the Patriots have first downs called back or reversed in the last minute in failed comeback attempts, is I see a team that is hell-bent, come high water, to beat themselves as badly as the other team wants to beat them each and every week. And I know Bill O'Brien is trying to make chicken blank out of, the chicken salad out of chicken blank, but they did this to themselves. They continue to find ways to beat themselves and be their own worst enemy. And until that stops, until somebody is talented enough, coaching-wise, schematically, player-wise, speed, hands, toughness, whatever, then we're going to continue to be frustrated by this team. And it's driving me nuts because they blew a chance to go to the playoffs last year, and they had 2 winnable games at home against 2 playoff caliber teams, and they blew it.
Well, all right. I think that probably captures everything for Patriots Nation right now. As the Prince of Pats Nation, as I texted you the other day. And I just... It's interesting because, you're going to answer this question here in a second, and it's a starting segment we do for every preview episode, and we'll get to when the Patriots have the ball and when the Jets have the ball on 3-2-1 breakdown and make our game picks here today. Yeah. Another episode of the Pats Interference Podcast brought to you by FanDuel, exclusive wagering partner of the CLNS Media Network. Spit it out as the segment, 30 seconds about what this game is about. To me, this week has been as much about the game as it has been the reaction to the last game, because this is, since 2001, as we all know, new territory, 0-2. And you call them winnable games. My reaction to the reaction is it's overblown. And I get why, for all the reasons you just said. It's frustrating. They were close. This season was about promise. And all they promised to do was screw it up initially and then just finish shy at the end. But I also look at this and go, they were underdogs against the Eagles. They were underdogs against Miami. And you need to win some division games starting this week. But I just think, if they get on track against the Jets, which we don't know yet, a lot of this calms down, and Dallas is going to be an issue, and it feels like it hurts. But like the most likely scenarios for this team, even the better ones, are still on the table at 9-8, 10-7. Am I too calm for you?
No, you're not. You're being highly rational, but you're being highly rational in a positive capacity. And, I'm not trying to stir up some sort of fandemic and, tell people to, start bringing their oily torches and their pitchforks as opposed to their, boom boxes with Crazy Train and their buffalo chicken dip and Bud Lights to the tailgate. But there's a reason why. Look, it all goes back to 2020. If Tom Brady plays out the string of his career with the Patriots, and we are mired in what the Patriots are playing through right now, nobody gives an F. But the entire narrative has changed when Belichick, Kraft, et al. Allow the greatest player in franchise history, greatest player in NFL history to walk out the door. And then it's, okay, let's see what the plan is without the greatest player who was the Flex Seal, who was the fixer, who was the guy in the kitchen who made sure every dish looked perfect before it hit the salamander or it exited the kitchen doors and found its way to the restaurant. All right. And you know what I've seen? I have seen way too much. I've seen way too many mistakes. You know, Andy Hart on our podcast and postgame show, Six Rings, says Pats fans should almost get used to calling mistake-riddled or, beating your own self style football is like the new Patriot way, per se, because we've been doing it or we've seen it for several years, Andrew. So I would be completely fine with everything they're doing. I could care less if they were stuck in a Jets-like quagmire for years, if they didn't somehow bring a large portion of this upon themselves. That being said, yeah, they were dogs in the first two games. Yes, they did play with toughness and tenacity and grit right down to the final whistle. And no, they don't have a Mac Jones problem. Mac Jones has an outside weapon and offensive line problem, which we can get into further. And I know you've been just like me, waving the flag for months, like, hey, over here, the offensive line, it's garbage. And now the Patriots, or at least a couple weeks ago, finally started addressing it. And I don't know how far they're going to be able to go until they fix those fundamentals, dude.
Well, you hit on it there quickly, and I'll answer my own question, spit it out 30 seconds. What is this next game about? And to me, it is about the Patriots maintaining not the identity of you don't screw up, you have fewer penalties, you play more disciplined, you're a step ahead, and that smarts and those fundamentals that you execute get you ahead. You survive by not losing, but you at least screw up less than the Jets. Like that's what this is about. If you go to 0-3 because of self-inflicted wounds, then you go to 0-3 because you lose to the team famous for their self-inflicted wounds, a ticking turnover bomb in Zach Wilson, a guy who have turned inside out and then outside in, and then inside out, and then outside in 4 matchups. Like, that's on you. All of this is on you. There are no more qualifiers because, as I mentioned, they were underdogs in those first two games. Those games were close. You had a chance to win. That's encouraging. Even as just much dismay that has just flooded Foxborough and outside anxiety. Your favorites going in this game, and I think rightfully so. So
I think they have no business being favorites in this game. This should absolutely. So the home, correct me if I'm wrong, but the home team always had. And listen, you literally see everyone is gonna be like, "Oh, Fitzy, he's turned into part of the media. Oh no, now he's got negative. Now he's too much time with Andy Hart and WEEI." No, I didn't. None of us had to live in reality for 20 years. We were just in this Wonka-like utopia of victory and merchandise and relevance and dominance, and we could just always walk around, beverage rested on our table gut shelf, just like, yeah, we are better than you. I mean, we always have been, but we got Brady and Belichick and also a Gronk and an Edelman, so F off, I am better. Well, we don't have any of those guys anymore, and we sure as hell could use some of them. So there's been a little bit of a humbling in Foxborough. And as far as Sunday goes, yes, Zach Wilson is like, he's like a baker at Pepperidge Farm. The guy's a freaking turnover wizard. I love what he does. I celebrate the entire catalog. And the Jets obviously did everything they could this offseason to not be here with him under center, to not have him be leading a team that they loaded up, with, HT to Nnamdi Asomugha 2011 Eagles dream team style. Just, same color uniform, just in a different, albeit, lousier location in North Jersey. Well, what if the narrative or storyline becomes, wow, the Zach Wilson renaissance or the Zach Wilson turnaround began against the Patriots? If I'm Nate Hackett, first of all, I still can't believe I'm employed. Second, if I'm Nate Hackett, if I throw more than 13 passes on Sunday, I should turn in my resume right there, my resignation. I should be like, I resigned as OC of the NYJ. There's no reason the Jets should possibly put the game in Zach Wilson's hands again, because he was the main reason why the Pats won in Jersey last year. And of course, Marcus Jones, the main reason why the Pats won in that icy, windy stalemate from November 2022. He's out for the next 4 weeks as well. So show me on the doll why the Patriots should be a 3-point favorite.
Okay, we'll get into that. And I think we should just skip ahead, though, because we're talking about the big picture reaction to what the Patriots are doing. And what will happen at the end of this game, whether they win or lose, is one of two things. They will be 1-2, or they will be 0-3. So very quickly, because we should get into this game, and it is going to be a close, and it should be ugly. We've got inclement weather, and that deserves a lot of attention to detail that will separate the winner from the loser. Let's start positive. They're 1-2. Right. It's a close game. They win by 3 or 6. Your reaction quickly will be what?
My reaction will be, yay. Also, it'll be, oh God, now I don't have to deal with 3 hours of angry Danny from Quincy and Paulie and Dedham calling into the Six Rings postgame show on EEI.
Paulie's kind of a dick. It's tough, man.
They're all
sure
opinions.
Paulie's real. Sorry,
I celebrate the passion, dude. I love it. Yeah. We love it. But no, my reaction will be, if it's the kind of win where it's not like Zach, if they earn it, put it this way: if the Patriots earn the win, solid offensive line play, they have a plan for Quinn and Williams and that ferocious Jets defensive line, and Quincy Williams, who's playing out of his mind since joining his brother on the Jets defense. If they don't throw, if Mac doesn't throw a freebie to Sauce Gardner or DJ Reed, if they just play a solid game where it's, our strong is better than your strong, our smart is smarter than your smart, and the ball bounces the Patriots' way, I'll be fired up. If the Pats, like Zach couldn't even get that fired up, the only joy I took as a Pats fan in them beating Zach at Jet Life Stadium in 2022 and 2021 was the Schadenfreude factor. The Pats really didn't look that good, but I know Jets fans are miserable, so I can walk with that. And, that's a sad little bit of joy that Pats fans can take in that. If they play a great game, yes, I'm happy.
Does 0-3 look?
Oh, bad. I mean, you just
your life is on do not disturb for the next 6 days, maybe weeks, 2 weeks. Just leave you alone.
Like once an hour, every hour, it's just going to be, Mr. Stevens, aka Fitzy. I know it's the 9th time I've been sent over today. Someone else ordered a wellness check on you. I just holler or throw a pizza crust at the window or something and let me maybe take the empties out of the kitchen. People are worried about. Yeah, no, dude. Like Andrew, think of it this way: if this season, which we are hoping, Robert Kraft wants playoffs involved. He wants postseason. He's desperate, for relevance and wins again. If playoffs aren't going to be a factor, because what team has ever made the postseason at 0-3, then this season, before the second day of autumn, the Patriots season could basically be just about trying to see who's a part of the future and who are the building blocks for 2024 and beyond, because 0-3 teams don't make the postseason. So yeah, it'll be pretty dire.
All right. I'm going to give away my pick at the end, which we normally save. You cannot now. This is part of the rule, just like I did last week. I missed. I said Patriots would win 20-19 against the Dolphins. I think they win here 16-13, as I mentioned. Ugly, gross game. The under is plummeting, and yet
Sunday?
People should still bet it. Yeah, on Sunday. Right. So
my pick is very similar to yours.
Yes. If you're with me or you're with Fitzy, who looks at this game and goes, I don't understand how the Patriots could be favored, you should still go to FanDuel, because you can still score early in this NFL season, even if the Patriots are not. FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. Right now, new customers get $150. That's 150 in bonus bets guaranteed when you place just a $5 bet. That's $150 in bonus bets, win or lose. If you've been thinking about joining FanDuel and listen to me talk to you about FanDuel, do it now. Again, win or lose. The app is easy to use. You can bet on spreads, player props, over-unders, and more. Visit FanDuel.com/Boston to win as the Patriots try to get back on track. Again, that's FanDuel.com/Boston. FanDuel, official partner of the NFL and the CLNS Media Network. Okay.
Hey, can I give you now, coming off of your FanDuel sponsored read, can I give the people, let me give the people 2 things that I think will be absolute money winners. Thank me later or drag me on the X come Sunday night or Monday morning. 1, under total first half points in the game, 18.5. That's -115. That's free money, people. That's like finding a burlap sack with a giant novelty $sign outside in unmarked non-sequential bills. Take it. And the easiest money, I think, Callahan, Pat's total points under 19.5 at -108. Do you like money?
I like money, which is why I might hold on to that. That's a stay away for me, because I think, look, when the Patriots have the ball, let's do it right like this. And I'm going to read you some MAC numbers that surprised me when I dug them up for this very podcast. So overall, the Patriots right now, their offense, 17th in DVOA. They are staring on schedule. Okay, there are no explosives. Their longest play against the Dolphins was an 18-yard back scramble, but they are top 12 in passing success rate and rushing success rate. Meaning, again, how often do you stay on schedule? 1st and 10, do you get 5 or more yards? 2nd and 5, do you get 3 or more? 3rd down, do you just convert? Problem is, of course, they're top 1 in just bad, horrendous first half turnovers, and they're not explosive, as I mentioned. The Jets, 13th in DVOA, coming off a 30-10 loss to Dallas, and before that beating the Bills 22-16. And the way Dallas beat them, of course, is not the way the Patriots are going to beat them because their offensive line is much better.
Right.
But in the big picture sense, it was death by paper cuts. Quick completion here, short run there, slowly building down the field. And they finished with almost a 2-1 time of possession advantage. And when I look at Mac and his career numbers, completing 72.66% of his passes against the Jets in 4 games, 3 touchdowns, 1 pick, 7.2 yards per attempt, and a passer rating of 97.6. Baby, this is his wheelhouse within 10 yards of the line of scrimmage. This is even, again, no comparisons between the player and the defense. When the Patriots looked at the Seahawks in that Super Bowl and did the sit downs for the video after, it was, we can't go big plays down the field. Like, we need to live 0 to 10, maybe to 15, and slowly march down the field. This is the game for Mac to do that. And he's already done it, even if there's a dropped interception here or there. So I'm feeling okay about that. Obviously, there's a big question. But what do you make of those numbers when I rattle them off?
2 quick things before those numbers as well. A huge, multiple people that were involved in the Patriots winning at Jet Life last fall, including the referee that called Mac Jones's pick 6 back, and Devin McCourty, who picked off not one but dose Zach Wilson arm punts.
Don't forget Jacoby Myers.
And Jacoby Myers, but they all won't be there. So that's a factor. And also, Mother Nature, who's been having a year, she has entered the equation because now she's throwing some sort of like twisting, fruity tropical cyclone thing, like some sort of bizarre mid-ocean form tropical cyclone is about to dump gallons of rain and sadness all over the Northeast. So weather could be a factor as well. This could be a ground and pound.
Stop there for a second, because I had never heard of a tropical cyclone, and I don't know about you until this week. I think Warren Sharp tweeted about it. And if you had asked me, hey, what's a tropical cyclone? Like, I would have thought that was some fruity drink you found.
What I get with my wife at a swim-up bar on our honeymoon.
Yeah, or an ice cream truck. It's one or the other. It's the most pure form of childhood. I will take one tropical cyclone, please, and thank you, and drop the change on
pure childhood escapism when the ice cream truck comes by the beach at the Cape and all the parents are like, oh, damn it, now I get it. Honey, do you have any cash? Or something that Dino at Vitamin C tries to convince us to order because we're just down there for a crispy lager and a nice double IPA. And he's like, guys, my new sour's over there in the swirly machine. Yeah. But that said, Mother Nature could be a factor. Now, to your numbers as well. Yesterday, I was all over the Mac Jones numbers on the season. Like, to me, there is no more polarizing figure in Boston sports, on the Patriots, in the NFL right now than Mac Jones, because dude has no come from behind victories. He's never beat another team when the other team scores 24 or more points. Yet I know over the last 4 seasons, no team has held opponents to 24 or less more frequently than the Pats. With no offensive, with saloon doors for an offensive line, for God's sakes. Hi, Calvin Anderson. In the second least amount of time to throw this season, dude is top 10 in completions, touchdowns, and yardage as well. Yet he made it to the playoffs once. Doesn't win and the other team scores 24. No come from behind wins or signature W's. So if this is one of those like henpecked death by 1,000 paper cut pass type games, the Pats will be in it all the way from opening kick to final whistle. Your Sunday really is just for the Patriots. It's we can't make a crucial mistake and we have to sweat Zach Wilson out. And for the Jets and their similar DVOA, it's 100% about what can we do to mitigate Zach Wilson crapping all over our boss line, rock and roll secondary, and wide receiver, and basically just weapons unit, if you will, between the running backs to the wide receivers that are kind of better than the Pats. I mean, wouldn't you take Mecole Hardman, Alan Lazard, and Garrett Wilson plus Cook and Hall over like Bourne, Parker, Henry, Zeke and Mondre. I mean, I think that's like slightly advantaged Metropolitans.
It's closer than you want to give it credit for. The
Yeah.
tiebreaker is who's the best of that bunch. Like it's NBA games in the last 5 minutes,
Right.
comparable teams, but who is the best player with the ball in his hands to make that difference? And Garrett Wilson has only 7 catches this season, 117 yards and a touchdown, but he is far and away the best player that you just rattled off on that list. For me, though, let's stay with the Patriots offense against the Jets defense, because
Okay.
this is the Jets defense that allowed them all of 25 points last year in 2 meetings. It was the same game plan separated by 3 or 4 weeks. We're going to rush for play zone behind it, and there's nothing you could do because of then and probably now their offensive line issues. The one reason I have hope for the Patriots is not only, as I've written and said multiple times, they've been playing offense like they have saloon doors for offensive tackles for going on 2 months. It's that the Jets have a soft spot against tight ends. And you saw this last week against Dallas, 2 touchdowns allowed through the air, both to tight ends. Last year, we're below average DVOA against tight ends. And Hunter Henry is having a hell of a season. Like he looks like a character in a play that doesn't belong. He's giving a fantastic performance, but you don't know what the hell the star of Greece is doing in the Wizard of Oz, because everything is a little bit different around him. Like he's killing it. And I've been on Hunter Henry forever. So it's not to point that out. It's to say,
what is the man of La Mancha doing in Rent? This is so strange.
Yeah, precisely. And Mike Gesicki against a safeties group that looks like it's going to be down Tony Adams, who's not a star for the Jets, and Jordan
He's good.
Had 3
He's
picks.
Good enough.
Solid. Right. The middle of the field, again, is where they can win. And I think they're ironing out some things that will mitigate the first quarter turnovers. I think Demario Douglas has to get in this game to also win over the middle against Michael Carter, their nickelback, because you're not going at sauce. DJ Reed is every year underrated outside, but they can win where they're best at, and that's the middle of the field. And I think through those tight ends, that's why I think they score more than people expect. Do you have any other thoughts on why they might surprise, even though you're taking the under already?
Why they might surprise? Yes. For those reasons alone. Look, like I said before, Quincy Williams has been a great addition to their linebacking core. CJ Mosley is definitely much more a front 4, front 7 than he is a middle of the field back end guy, but he does have great instincts, and he dropped an easy pick from Mac in the game last year at Jet Life. They have to find a way. They just need to win in they have to win in the spots where Mac is most comfortable and continuously successful. If they try to turn this into an outside zone game, or all of a sudden Mac is like, let's go back to the days of me chucking it deep to Devontae, Jalen, and Jerry Jeudy, then this is going to be a long day. And it's not the kind of day where anyone should be worried about fantasy stats, or anyone should, how Mac looks. It's more about just pure efficiency. And if they can if Mike Gesicki can use his size advantage over some of these guys, and Hunter Henry can continue to do his old man shake and bake that's worked out so well for him. Like he said on the radio station a few weeks ago, he looks good and feels the best he's ever done as a pro, because this was the first offseason, no rehabbing, no surgeries. So he said he was able to, quote, attack the offseason, work on his footwork, learn some new routes. Like he's been hive mind with Billy O'Brien and Mac the whole time, and it shows. So let me ask you this. In return for a Pats offense that has been stagnant and produced all of 3 points in the first 2 halves of these games, who's the guy that's going to join Hunter Henry and Mac Jones as part of the let's put our foot down, no more struggling on offense in the first half movement?
Well, it has to be Bill O'Brien in my mind, in a big sense, because this is why he's here, right? To be the difference-making OC. We got a couple questions here, so I want to get to those before I get to that one, because there's one other player. It's Ramondre Stevenson that I think has an opportunity to attack in the way that we just described. Bader wants to know, are we going to see Vidarian Lowe at right tackle? Calvin Anderson has been dreadful. My money would say no, and that's because it was very close between who had the worst day in pass protection, but we had a D- on the right side and then just a D on the left. Like Lowe gave up the sack on that last drive against Miami. Trent Brown looks like he should be back on Sunday. Big thumbs up there. So I think they'll keep Anderson there, let him develop that timing with Onwenu and just go, because he's also just better than Lowe. I understand, though, wanting to pull Anderson. Another question we had down here from Old Man Mob. What's the biggest upside or downside of the Patriots team this year? I think it's the upside's gone from 11-6 down to 10-7, and obviously there's a lot of catch up. Probably still in the 6-11 to 7-10 range downside. So on Stevenson, he had, I think, as many receiving yards as he did rushing yards against the Jets last year. And so that's a guy I talk about, Henry with the trust. Mac has that same trust. He threw to Mondre and Jacoby last year, and that was it. And so I don't know how they'll try to manufacture some of those matchups because Williams and Mosley like do a good enough job in space. But when he's in empty sets, like that, he's a guy like Bourne and Juju was supposed to be, is good after the catch. If you get him in space, maybe not even on these screens, like I would have tried to attack that way to get him into open room and let him go from there, because we all know what he can do with the ball in his hands and a chance to just get past the line without defenders swarming him a second after the ball is snapped.
And last night, I sat through the majority of that Thursday night football affair between the Giants and the 49ers. And I saw Brock Purdy attempt like one, however it's measured now, like dangerous throw, downfield throw, however you want to call it. And it was a long touchdown pass to Deebo Samuel. But otherwise, he spent the majority of the game just finding ways to get the ball into the hands of McCaffrey, Deebo, and Kittle, who in one-on-one matchups with the kind of guys that should be covering them, usually not only will get open, but win, and then are able to advance to the next level because of their speed, toughness, and their footwork. For some reason, and I think a lot of it just goes back to the O-line. Like, you've got an awesome O-line and the best left tackle in the last 20 years in Trent Williams. By the way, that was a punch. Well, he'll probably be getting a nice FedEx over the course of the next 5 days. Whereas the Patriots O-line has been just subway turnstiles for the better part of the first 2 weeks. No continuity, communication issues, low, and no Trent Brown. And now you got to bribe him back onto the field. I don't care what you have to do to buy Mac Jones one more second. And if this turns out to be like Billy O'Brien's masterpiece, where he's almost 5 wide the majority of the game, and we're not just like traditionally running from the gun, or it's not just passing from under center or whatever. And you've got, like, I saw someone mention the comments earlier, like, could Ty Montgomery factor in? Absolutely. Absolutely. I could see Mondre and Ty Montgomery popped up, like quick guy, like Hunter Henry and a bunch of like quick little dudes just getting passes and getting down and sustaining drives and frustrating the Jets. I think that would be a great way to go about this, because if this is like traditional max 5 and 7 step drops, I mean, how long can you ask Cole Strange to hold up on Quinnen Williams?
So part of the way that they've tried to slow down these pass rushes has been tempo. It's been screen game. It's been quick game, some counter runs. I think you'll see a lot of misdirection runs, trap, wham, like inviting defensive tackles into the backfield, and bam, there comes Hunter Henry from the side to knock them off course.
Yep.
One thing they have not done, however, is play action. They rank 30th in the league in play action usage, and that's partly because they've fallen behind. It's because you can't block, but that's another way to make those defensive linemen think twice about charging upfield. 13.3%. That to me has to go up. That's my game plan. But Coach Fitzy, I got to defer to you here as we wrap up the offensive segment. Your 2-point plan for the Patriots to get over the 19.5 points you think is way too much for them to score on Sunday.
It's a simple. Mac is on pace for 34 touchdowns, but also 17 picks. You cannot turn the ball over. Okay. It's kind of hypocritical that Belichick benches Demario Douglas while he's trying to make a play, and like a super freak of a human like Bradley Chubb comes from behind and just makes a great football play. It's not like Pop Douglas was holding it out here. Like, Zeke doesn't get benched when he fumbles. Mac doesn't get benched when he throws a pick. So don't turn the ball over. A clean game. Number 1, clean game. 2, the short passing game has to set the Jets up to the point where the defense starts to branch out a little bit. The zone gets frustrated. The defensive line is now checking over their shoulder for who he just zipped a ball to next. And then that's when you hammer them. If they can stay in the game with the short passing game long enough, maybe Zach does give you a 50-50 ball or two. Then you ground and pound them into submission late in the game as the weather gets a little wonkier. There's your key for success. 2 touchdowns, 2 field goals. I mean, 2 Rylands and 2 Mac Tutties would be, or two Mondres would be spectacular, because I do not see the Jets getting more than 20 points. I know 24 is the magic number in Pats Nation. Get me 20 for the Pats. That's a dub.
Yeah, I like it. All right. Again, we have suggested a lot of Fitzy's given props. I've said go to FanDuel. a million times. If you're going to go to FanDuel, we can also get you a little bit of help here from a new sponsor for the podcast. It's called Odds R, ODDSR, because let's face it, relying on sheer luck was so last season. Odds R is about playing smart. They don't take your bets, but they'll make you look like a, quote, genius at placing them elsewhere. They don't want you to bet. They want you to win. So dive in, because you, listeners of this podcast, get a 30-day free trial. All the data, all the trends, all the information to make your bet smarter. If you just go to oddsr.com or get the Odds R app for a 30-day free trial for Pats Interference listeners, oddsr.com/Pats, P-A-T. That's oddsr.com/Pats to bet smarter and give you a better chance to win some money. Again, regardless of whatever the Patriots are up to. Okay.
Quick question, Callahan, right now, as we exit the offensive side and we switch to the defensive side, new temporary, only because I'm the guest segment here on your show. It's called If I Had a Time Machine.
Yeah.
Or if you could travel back in time and you could force Belichick and Groh's hand to do one of the following things, having watched the first two games and seeing the schedule that they have ahead of them, knowing full well there's not even really an easy dub on the schedule until they go for a Spieltag in Frankfurt. Would you make the Patriots get a better left or right tackle, or would you make the Patriots trade for Jerry Jeudy or an elite wide receiver one?
Yes.
All right. Thanks very much.
No, the offensive tackle is my choice. I get the Jeudy stuff. I just don't think, aside from trading, which means Keenan Allen, who was taken off the board, that was my first point in a rebuild plan, was you're going to have to need to trade for a number one receiver. Jacoby and Juju were the top of that market. I think obviously there's a little bit of buyer's remorse from people I've talked to about Juju. That's a little strong for me, but they're heading in that direction, just given what they've seen, what we've all seen, frankly. And so if it wasn't going to be the draft, which I didn't begrudge them, you just need to plug the holes that were still there from last year. And it helps your run game. It protects your quarterback. It gives him extra time, because this was always going to be an even equal opportunity offense, spreading the ball around. It would be really nice to have that number one. But, I mean, anyone watching DeAndre Hopkins in Tennessee is not looking at that guy going, okay, he's carrying gravity like he used to. So in those scenarios, I would take the tackle. Mike McGlinchey, come on down. We wish you did. Okay.
Exactly. Thank you.
Yeah. When the Jets have the ball, so their offense, 31st in DVOA. They are 30th in EPA per play. That's expected points added, basically how close are you helping yourself get to the end zone every snap. They are better at staying on schedule with the run. I talked about success rate for the Patriots. The Jets are 14th when running the ball, but of course 30th in passing, because Zach Wilson lives his own life, and it does not include playing career in offense. They are much more explosive. Breece Hall had an 89-yard run against Buffalo in the opener. Garrett Wilson, a long touchdown, 68 yards against Dallas, beat our old friend Steph Gilmore. And so the Patriots, as you mentioned, just have to play a clean game. And Lawrence Guy gave voice to a column I'd written that day, which was just screw up less than they do, and you get out of there with a win, because he said, this is a do your job game. You don't have to force plays. You don't even have to make plays. This is him talking, Lawrence Guy. You just have to wait for the plays to come to you. And that's what this is about for me, mostly because Zach Wilson stinks. He's the worst quarterback in the league. He's going to give you the ball just like Devin McCourty has every year. Be there with open arms to go get you. Am I missing something? Is this way too simplistic a take on when the Jets have the ball?
No, it's not. It's the appropriate take. However, leaning on past performance to indicate future success could be dangerous for the Patriots as well, because that running game has been so lethal for the Jets, and because they added Dalvin Cook to the mix, as well as Breece Hall. And by the way, if anything ever happens to any of my ligaments, especially in the lower extremities, I'm going to his surgeon, because who in the world comes back faster and more dynamic 10.5 months after ACL reconstructive surgery? Holy smokes, is that guy a bottle rocket? He's a real concern come Sunday as well. Now, the Patriots don't have to construct a defensive game plan that mirrors what Belichick and Mayo and the other Belichicks did on last Sunday against the Dolphins, sort of like building a shield around Tyreek and Waddle, and then allowing Mostert, unfortunately, to feed. And that 43-yard run is still just an absolute backbreaker that I'm sure was rather the point of emphasis this week. If the Patriots can be stout at the point of attack, if they don't let Hall slip through, if they don't let Hall go around the side, if they don't let Dalvin Cook bust one up the gut, if, the God shows, who's a new dad, and the guys and the Barmores and the Bentleys can make sure that you don't give up anything more than 4 yards in a cloud of recycled tire pellets, then you're going to make Zach have to make some critical throws. And yes, one or two of them will invariably end up in the arms or near the general wingspan of Duggar and Peppers and Gonzo and Jones. You gotta haul those in.
And here's the deal about Zach Wilson. It's not even just about past performance. It's his performance this year. Worst passer rating in the league, bottom 5 PFF grade, second highest turnover-worthy play percentage. So that includes interceptions, fumbles, and ones that the defense just screwed up because you gave it to them and they dropped it. That's why they're playing defense. But the point you make about, kind of contain a lot of dad strength, by the way, up front. Christian Barmore just had a kid. You mentioned Devon Gotcha had a new kid. Lawrence Guy, I think, has more kids than anyone on the team.
They've got 4. My God, she just keep. God bless them. They just keep.
You need a lot. You need to put that dad strength to good use because what happened against Miami was they lost the edge way too frequently, and part of that was the coaching staff.
Uche, and is that why we saw a lot of Tavai?
Yes, Tavai on the edge who lost it on the touchdown run, but really aside from that was okay. It was starting with Josh Uche. It was Dietrich Wise on a couple of occasions. Like, you just can't do that because the rain is not going to put out the gunpowder on the Jets. You need to do that on Sunday because they have nothing else. It is setting off a stick of dynamite. Like, they're not going to be able to slowly march here. They're counting on a couple bombs to drop on you or Brees Hall to burst through, and that's it, and they win. And that's what this is. One of the other ways that they're going to get explosive plays, of course, is Garrett Wilson, which brings us to Christian Gonzalez, who took on Tyreek Hill in the second half against Miami. And you never would have known this was a rookie playing in his second NFL game because he had a lot of help.
So good. Legitimately so good.
So good. Would you at least dabble in? Yeah, we'll double him on third down. We get in the red zone. We'll shade a safety over. But would you let him maybe shadow? Marcus Jones is going to be out.
Yeah, Marcus Jones is 1,000% out for at least 4 weeks, and I wouldn't be surprised if he's out longer, which hurts the Patriots in the return game as well, since he single-handedly won one of those 2 matchups for him last year. Would I let him go one-on-one with Garrett Wilson, especially in sloppy conditions? Yes. I would allow him at times to take on the task because Lazard is a working-class quality receiver. He had the trust of Rodgers. Obviously, it's a completely different ball game with Zach Wilson and Alan Lazard. I'm not that worried about Mecole Hardman. He's more of like an end-around, reverse, gadget run, deep play, flyer type of guy. The rest of their weaponry, old man Cobb, no, come on now.
Right, so you could play a little bit more man. And so Wilson's really the bigger part there. And like they gave up a touchdown to Uzomah. Josh Bledsoe was playing.
Uzomah stinks. Their tight ends are nothing to write home about.
Right. So there's not as much of a threat from an explosion standpoint or guys you're just afraid of at the snap if you're going to play more man coverage, which they really didn't do against Miami, especially losing all those corners. We don't know where Jonathan Jones is at. But it really is up front. And one player I want to highlight because he's not leaving the field. I think he's wildly underrated. But he had a bad game against Miami is Juwan Bentley. Like, that's the guy when they go to a 5-1 front, they say, okay, all the defensive linemen are going to plug those gaps. And if it gets outside, you just need to run over there and make the tackle because you have free range. No one's coming up to you. There are no double teams that are reaching you at the second level. That's the point of a 5-1. He couldn't do it. He had 2 missed tackles. That space game against Miami is not really for him. But this game, which is going to star Dalvin Cook and Brees Hall, if they treated almost interchangeably, is going to be a big him game. And he had an interception, Zach Wilson, last year. Mm-hmm. What do you think as far as that goes with Bentley?
Listen, Bentley got that nice 2-year, $19 million deal for a reason. And as much leadership, poise, determination, and guidance you can show as a team captain, that doesn't win you the game on Sunday. Like that, no Jets player is going to say, ooh, Juwan Bentley is revered in his locker room. Let's run away from him on this upcoming play. Like, if they think he's slow and they can get the edge around him, or if they can find a way to get a mismatch and put Bentley in coverage, damn right the Jets are going to find every way possible to do that, which is why eventually I'm kind of hoping that he may get subbed out a bit more on pronounced or obvious passing plays, and maybe you'll see a guy like Marte Mapu in there instead, because at least now, sure, he may also get shaken and bacon out of his pants a few times because he's a rookie, so he may bite on some fakes, but he's got the kind of speed, not to mention the power, because everyone says he hits like a runaway freight train. He's
He
got the
does.
kind of speed to keep up with people. Bentley just can't. Like, Bentley would have been a stud back in the good old days of, the Patriots 2014 defense, and on either of the double dynastic halves of the Patriots 6 Super Bowl runs, he would have been an absolute stud. But guys his size at the linebacking position are slowly sort of getting phased out. So he's going to have to watch himself again on Sunday. Like, he's a very, very, very pivotal player.
One other area I want to highlight here, because this will impact, as I mentioned, setting edge against the run game is going to be huge, not letting Cook and Hall get outside, but also just the how the Patriots balance what they did a lot of last week. Matt Judon dropped 8 times into coverage to take care of that kind of short seam area where Miami just kept peppering them with passes. They introduced a lot of sim pressures where you've got, 4 or 5 guys in the line of scrimmage, one drops off, replaced by a linebacker or a safety. So it's still a 4-man rush, but you get to it creatively to create confusion. That's what Juwan Bentley got his interception on last year. I'm curious how quickly Judon and Uche, when they are rushing, can just get to Zach Wilson. Again, he was the worst quarterback under pressure last year, bar none. And he's still on track to do that again. And when they're not, how well are they confusing those blocking schemes? Because Lakin Tomlinson, the left guard, and Dwayne Brown, left tackle. Brown has not practiced so far this week. I think are the softer spots of this offensive line. So I would look for a lot of stunts, Bentley coming in off that left side. But then if the guys aren't dropping, you got to get home, because obviously Zach Wilson is Belichick. This is what he kept the praise. Really athletic quarterback. That was it for Bill of an opponent on Wednesday. How effective are they in both of those instances? When you're dropping and the other guys are rushing versus can Judon and Uche and Keon White just win right away? Because that's a battleground that I think will be a bellwether for their whole defense, because it means affecting Zach Wilson, who's going to implode, or causing him some confusion, which could also bait him into a bad mistake.
Do you almost wonder in some way if Saleh, who I think is just out over his skis against most other coaches, like, good defensive coordinators don't always make great NFL head coaches. And if I were him this week, I would have been treating this like way more of an emotional affair than just trying to play out. It's any other game. It's an AFC. No, it is not just any other game. It is not just any AFC's matchup. It's having lost 14 in a row to the Patriots. It's about having a chance to be in first place in the AFCs, depending on how Sunday shakes out. It's about trying to end the season quite early of our older brother and oppressor for the better part of the last 2 decades. But hey, those are his choices. Whatever, if he wants to come up with fancy, shiny metaphors about birds and whatever else at the top of Hard Knocks, good for you. You do you, Saleh. As far as the Pats go, look, Dwayne Brown's questionable, hasn't practiced all week. And also just his place on this team is very questionable. Mekhi Becton has never been the player we thought he would be. He's questionable. He's banged up as well. There's a very good chance the Patriots could just flat out use speed and power from Wise, Uche, Judon, and Keon White, the human action figure, to just absolutely just dominate the game right from Jump Street. And I kind of wonder if Hackett and Saleh are going to be like, look, if you think the pocket is folding, throw it away. Do not think that your arm talent, Mahomesian angles and footwork is going to save the day. Clock it, live to fight another day. And that may be the case. Like, we could be looking, Andrew, at something like in 2015, where the Patriots were in that AFC Championship in Denver. Like, they had no tackles that day whatsoever. So Ware and Miller just feasted all day. Brady had no time to pass all day long.
You're talking Patriots I guess it could be both, depending on your view of the Jets offensive tackles. But as far as that analogy goes, like, Patriots offensive line is getting turnstiled, or both.
Yeah, the Patriots offensive line is going to have some trouble, I think, more up the gut. Whereas I think the Jets are going to have, like, the Patriots had an awful time at the tackle position. Vollmer was playing left tackle. He was on a broken ankle. Whoever the hell played right tackle that day had no.
Well, it was Marcus Cannon, whose career you thought might have ended, but instead he bounces back to be second team All-Pro. Anyway, let's wrap up here.
That's how I see. That's sort of how I see it playing out.
2 game plan points from you defensively.
Oh, two defensive game plan points. One, absolute. You can't. No big runs. No home runs. Absolutely no home runs whatsoever. We know Breece Hall is capable of taking it to the house on a moment's notice, and Dalvin Cook is no slouch himself. They gave up a 43-yard backbreaker last week to Raheem Mostert. You cannot allow any chunk rushing plays. And as far as it goes with Zach Wilson, yeah, get after him as quick as you can with the power rush on the outside. Just be patient with him, but be patient. Don't oversell it, because it could just be, and two leads back into one. It could be one well-timed draw play when the Patriots sell out on a jailbreak blitz on the outside that goes up the gut. And next thing you know, a game the Patriots have had in hand 6-0 all game is quickly 7-6 Jets, and now WTF. So be patient with Zach. He'll give it to you, and you absolutely cannot allow any home run runs.
Co-sign on that. All right, we have our 3-2-1 breakdown, boiling everything we just talked about down into 3 matchups, 2 keys, 1 wild card, which is quickly turning to be my favorite part of these preview episodes, and then a game pick at the end. But first, a word from our friends at AG1. Hey guys, taking a quick break from the football to talk about a new Pats Interference partner, AG1. It's a daily nutritional supplement for whole body health. I gave AG1 a try, frankly, because they gave me a call. But now, after months of using AG1, I am giving you a call, because I take 1 scoop of AG1, mix it into a glass of water every morning before breakfast, and drink it. And right then and there, I know, regardless of how long my day goes, how stressed I get, or how busy I am with work down in Foxborough, I have taken care of my vitamin, mineral, and nutrient needs. I have taken care of my body, and it makes me feel great. And as they say, you are what you eat. And what AG1 is a science-driven formulation of those vitamins, minerals, and probiotics, all whole food source nutrients that support your energy, focus, strength, and mental clarity every single day. Who doesn't need that mental clarity, especially nowadays? And AG1 as a whole is raising the standard for quality in the supplement category. That goes for you folks taking the 1 pill a day. So if a comprehensive solution is what you need from your supplement routine, give AG1 a try and get a free 1-year supply of vitamin D and 5 free AG1 travel packs with your first purchase. All you have to do, it's very simple. Go to drinkag1.com/Pats. That's drinkag1.com/PATS. drinkag1.com/Pats. Check it out.
Look at this guy with the pre-roll ads and everything. Man, look. Wow. Moving on up. I love. Be a huge fan of the AG1, by the way.
Yeah, you are?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, like, our lifestyle. We're up too late. A lot of stress. Sometimes the adult beverages get flowing. That stuff is amazing for everything that you force upon yourself. I'm basically the New England Patriots offense of taking care of myself. A lot of unforced, unnecessary errors. So AG1 is great like that.
Yeah, cool. You succumb very easily to pressure of like, yeah, you want to stop at McDonald's? No. Another beer? Okay.
Yeah.
Just straight through. All right, 3 keys, 2 matchups, 1 wild card. Lead us off, Coach Prime.
All right, so 3 keys, 2 keys for the Patriots to win. Again, patience at the line of attack as far as defending the Jets goes, and no turnovers on offense for the Patriots as well. A fundamentally sound game where the Jets have no plays in the return game, let alone on offense as well. Over 20 yards will keep the Patriots in control of a game where they are less mistake prone, less turnover laden, and they have the much better head coach as well. So that's my top key for this game.
Yeah, no turnovers for sure, especially in light of, again, the Jets aren't going to threaten you if you do play patiently and play safe, because their problems are going to expound whenever they get in the red zone, et cetera. Mine is limit Zach Wilson scrambles. And I joked about Belichick limiting his description or praise from Zach Wilson to really athletic quarterback. We've seen him before, like someone you see at the gym who's doing a lot more pull-ups than you or running faster, like, oh, yeah, that really athletic guy I see every once in a while. His stat line says 9 carries for 42 yards this season. Doesn't seem like a whole lot, but you look at their best drives against Dallas last week. He was scrambling. He was extending plays, and not in a way that he was looking for the highlight throw. It was, I've got room to run, and I'm taking it. And so his success rate rushing is 66% of the time, either keeping them on schedule or getting them first downs. He is absolutely telling them we cannot let him get out and get those scrambles. And so for me, that's the 3rd key. One matchup for me, other side of the ball, as we get 2 matchups, Cole Strange versus Quinnen Williams is asking for a lot of trouble. Like, I don't think we know if Cole Strange is good yet. This would go a long way to understanding, even if he gets help from David Andrews, and he should. Quinnen Williams is great, but he got benched in this game last year, and that just history cannot repeat itself in that way here again.
Yeah, and City So, I believe, is wearing a red non-contact jersey at practice, so you'll probably only have Mafia at your disposal in terms of large humans you could pop in at the guard position as well. That was one I was gonna jump on, but ultimately, I want to go. We've been in a deficit of star power for the last couple of years with the Patriots, and I legitimately think the first guy that has it, or as they like to say, the Riz, swag, whatever you want to say, and then some, is Christian Gonzalez. He looks the part of a star cornerback. He looks the part of a star. He's got the glimmer in his eyes. He's fluid on the field. If you've got Tyreek Hill shouting you out on your podcast, saying like, shout out Patriots, this kid's a real one. He moves really well. He had me locked up.
Yeah, positive shout out from Tyreek Hill.
Positive shout out. And like, look at Callahan. Like, you've probably been in the locker room. Like, there's a draw to him. Like, he's got the magnetism. Like, there's legitimate star power with this kid. And the Jets have one in Garrett Wilson, who's kind of like a silent assassin. Like, he's like, if you saw in Hard Knocks, he's a quiet killer, but boy, can he move. So I'm looking at Garrett Wilson versus Christian Gonzalez as a get your popcorn ready type matchup. This is iron sharpens iron, the way Sauce versus Wilson was in Jets camp on Hard Knocks, and then some. If Gonzo can keep him limited for the day, that increases the chances that Zach zips one to somebody else, and that somebody else would be a New England Patriot.
I think that's spot on. One last note, too, about Christian Gonzalez told reporters at the Combine, I'd forgotten about this until Mark Daniels, friend of the show, at Mass Live reminded me. He took Christian Gonzalez did inspiration from Sauce Gardner, saying, when I walk in, I want to do that my rookie year. He's off to a pretty good start. All right, the wild card. This is a final thought we haven't covered yet. It could be a prop bet. It could be something off the field, a fun fact. You have already dropped some prop bets. So what is your wild card for Sunday?
This is a fun one. I looked this up on StatMuse just to take heart in the fact everything that you have pumped up about Zach Wilson just being an absolute hack Wilson against the Patriots. But this isn't my true wild card. Zach Wilson has a passer rating of 50.6 with 693 yards, 2 touchdowns, and 7 interceptions in 4 games against the Pats in his career. So if you divide that out by average, he should throw for 175 yards. He should throw for half a touchdown and at least 2 picks on Sunday. That should give the Patriots a W. However, the one place I want the Patriots, and they have been more fundamentally sound here, special teams. I love Behringer. Behringer, the boomstick, has been awesome. We're going to need a lot of big punts from him probably with the Patriots, pinned back a couple times at Jet Life. But the one spot I want people to watch, you cannot lose the return game. You now don't have the edge in the return game because you don't have Marcus Jones. However, this Xavier Gibson kid, like man 53 on the Jets, the final one to make the team, which everyone heralded as such a feel-good moment on Hard Knocks. He had that huge return to win the game where Joe Buck had a scoregasm on national TV. He's good. He's really good. And the Pats can't lose him and let him like pull off a 45-yarder and get the Jets into scoring territory. I know Greg the Leg is kind of dinged up. I'm not sure who's kicking for the Jets, but this game is going to come down to special teams, big punts, and whoever hits the final field goal.
So 2 things on that. One, their special teams ranked number 1 in the league by DVOA, and that is helped a lot, obviously, by walk-off return touchdown, which Xavier Gibson had, and I think it's a great point.
Damn, girl.
The second is my wild card is this week's injury report for the Jets. Greg Zuerlein listed as limited with a groin, and then in parentheses next to groin, it says capital R. And I just assume that means his right groin, but I don't know why the Jets felt the need to or felt compelled to share that with us. Is it his inner muscle in his right leg? Is there something else going on with the groin?
Or is it
like
just
if I
R
ever
for
had a
ripped?
groin injury, just lie. Okay, say abdomen, say something else is going on. No one needs. They give explicit detail about which side it is. So I just
Belichick does like
comedy.
Yeah, Belichick does like lower body, and the Jets are like hyper specific, like right side of groin, like just an exercise in complete opposites as well. I don't. Who's gonna if he can't go? Who's their backup kicker?
I think he's gonna be fine because he hasn't practiced or he didn't practice the last 2 weeks, and this week he has been limited, so he's upgraded. But it's a good question. Maybe it's Gibson. I don't know. All right, game pick time. I said it. Patriots 16, Jets 13. It gets rained on. It's ugly. No one wants to rewatch this game except for those of us breaking down every single snap as we do every week. What do you have?
It's a tie game, 16-16. The Jets have the ball. Just over 2 minutes left. Zach Wilson faces a face full of pressure off the side from Keon White. He backpedals one right into the waiting arms of Christian Gonzalez at the Jets' 41-yard line. Mac Jones drives the Patriots all of 9 yards. Ramondre does not get the first down, setting up Chad Ryland from 48 with the game on the line. He blasts it home. Pats Nation celebrates. We will not be on the schneid. We do not go winless in the division. We run the streak against the Jets to 15. Final score, Patriots 19, Jets 15. And that's an under for everyone who's going to use FanDuel.
Oh, boy. 1916?
Yep.
Okay, gotcha. That's I love it. There's some of these games going back to 2015, I think that one ended in overtime. There was the touchdown, non-touchdown at the goal line. Like, these games get weirder than I think we remember because they all get blurred into the Patriots beat the snot out of the Jets or the Jets screw it up at the end. There's room for some weird football here, I think, especially with the rain and everything that you were talking about. All right, he is Fitzy. You can find him at WEEI, at FitzyGFY on Twitter. Instagram, are you on the talk? Are you younger than me?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. It's across the board at FitzyGFY.
All right, well, I'm going to go grab some lunch, and I'm going to do so thanks to our friends at Factor Meals, the final ad that we have here. Patriots are going to win. You heard it here first, and if not, we'll have you back. If I can even get a hold of you. Coach Prime, having your whole life on Do Not Disturb and all the wellness calls. Honestly, now I'm looking forward to both.
I am too, dude. Have a great game. I'll be looking forward to your coverage as well. And you'll be doing your thing, talking, writing, and more. And if anyone wants to join the party, I'm going to try to have like a little Facebook Live going at the same time that we're doing the Six Rings post-game show Sunday from the final kick to 7:30 on WEEI, WEEI.com, or on the Odyssey app. Join us. I'm hoping we're going to have our first Pats party of the season, my guy.
You got it. If folks can make it, they should. Go find Fitz anytime you can. We'll catch up with you later, all right?
My guy, we'll see you later. Go Pats.
Guys, football season being underway means our busiest season is underway. School is back in session. You're going back to work. Some of us are going down to Gillette Stadium to hear Bill Belichick say nothing to your face. But either way, if you were looking for convenient, wholesome foods during your jam-packed day, look no further than Factor, America's #1 ready-to-eat meal kit, which can help you fuel up fast with chef-prepared, dietitian-approved, ready-to-eat meals, and they're delivered straight to your door. They're delivered straight to my door. My wife and I have them now just about once or twice a week because it saves time. We eat well and stay on track with our healthy lifestyles. And right now, you can choose from 34 weekly, flavor-packed, fresh, never-frozen meals, all ready to eat in 2 minutes. These are calorie-conscious, nutrient-rich. You can try any of them. Again, dietitian-approved. If you need an extra boost, try the Protein Plus meals with 30 grams of protein. Those are my favorite. So head to factormeals.com/Callahan50 and use code Callahan50, my last name, to get 50% off, 50. At CALLAHAN50 for 50% off. That's code Callahan50 at factormeals.com/Callahan50 to get 50%